Okay, so I'm back and I took out my stitching and I decided I wanted to restart the vertical hemming stitch because, as I was going I was like, you know what, something just doesn't look right here. And it's because I should have just grabbed a couple yarns and then come back through instead of going through at a diagonal all at once, because I could see my stitches on the other side and they were a lot bigger than I know they should have been. So I stopped and I reviewed the instructions that are in the textbook, and this is on page 80 of your textbook, and I think that might be a good idea for you to do too, just to have a picture to reference. I don't think it would hurt anything. So what I'm also going to do is I'm also going to just put a couple pins along the hem area, that 2-inch hem area that we did, just to hold that in place. I think that will also help me to keep consistent while I'm stitching here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a few pins in just to keep everything kind of in place, hopefully while I do this demonstration. Alright, so back to the hem area, and oh, I just poked my finger. So what I'm going to do is, before I was making a long bait, it was a longer stitch on the front side, which is what we don't want to do. We want to minimize any of the stitching from the front side or the right side of our sample, because that would be the right side or the outside of possibly a sleeve or a pant or anything like that. So we want to make sure that we are reducing the amount of seamed stitches on the front side. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab a couple yarns. So we're just going to prick them. So we're going to go down into the fabric and then back up. And then while we have that here, then we're going to go down into the diagonal. So we kind of grabbed that fabric and then went diagonal. And that's what I didn't come back out before I did that. So again, I'm going to make that thread go vertical, and then I'm going to go in just right opposite of where my thread came out. I'm going to grab a couple yarns again and then hit it at a diagonal. So I'm in and out, and then I'm going to go behind the hem tape about 1/8 of an inch in and grab and then push my needle all the way through the hem tape. Alright. And I'm just going to repeat that motion again. I'm going to go in and out, right on top of that hem tape, and then I'm going to slip my needle behind at a diagonal, maybe about 1/4 inch of away, 1/8 of an inch down from the top of that hem tape, and push that needle through. Alright, now let's do a quality check on the front side. Much better. You can barely see those stitch lines. 1, 2, 3. And again, if I was using thread that matched my fabric, I probably wouldn't be even seeing them at all. So I'm just going to continue doing this. I'm going to walk you through a couple more times until I finish up. So right opposite of where I ended, I'm going to come on top of the hem tape to that 1 layer thick fabric, grab a couple yarns, slide my needle behind the hem tape at a diagonal, and come over about 1/4 of an inch away. Let me make sure I accidentally grabbed the front. I could feel it. I was like, something is. So I'm sliding my needle behind that hem tape, putting it in at a diagonal about 1/4 inch away, 1/8 of an inch down, and pulling that thread through. So I'll do this a couple more times for you. Right opposite of where that thread came out, I'm going to go to the 1 layer thickness, grab a couple yarns, slide my needle at a diagonal behind the hem tape about 1/4 or so inch away, push that needle through, and then pull my thread out. Alright, a couple more times. Right opposite of where that thread came out, I'm going to grab a couple yarns, push my needle a little bit through, slip it behind the hem tape, put it at a diagonal and push it through about 1/4 of an inch away, 1/8 of an inch down from the top of that hem tape. So as you can see, what we're having here is what we can see on the hem tape are these little tiny vertical yarns is what we should see, and then what's happening behind, and we won't be able to see this like when we're done, is that we're having those diagonal floats on the back side of the hem tape. So again, I'll do 2 more for you guys and then I'll let you finish up. I'm going to go grab a couple yarns just opposite of where I ended up. I'm going to push my needle through, go behind my hem tape at a diagonal, and then continue pushing that through about 1/4 inch of away, 1/8 of an inch down. And I'm going to pull that thread through. Last one, and then I'm sure you guys can finish up, and you're probably tired of hearing me repeat this. I'm just going to grab those yarns, push my needle through, come in at a diagonal behind my hem tape, and pull my needle through. Alright, now what you guys should do is just finish up this stitching technique all the way down your hem tape, and then I would remove your pins and do a final pressing. Make sure when you get to the end of your hem tape here that you tie a knot, and then I would label this sample hem tape finish, comma, vertical hemming stitch, and then place it in your binder.